Hi, I'm Karen DeLoach.
And welcome to Love Letters. Love Letters are a collection of love stories so people get lost, get crazy, and disoriented in the name of love. Another week, another great, amazing letter that Miss Karen will read for us.
Yes, thank you so much for your letters, listeners. So, this listener is asking for help to rekindle the love. Dear Daniel and Karen, I'm writing this letter with a mix of humility, regret, and hope. It is not easy to admit that something once meaningful has slowly faded. Not because it was broken by betrayal or cruelty, but because it was quietly neglected. Somewhere along the way, love became assumed instead of nurtured, familiar instead of intentional, and I am now standing in the uncomfortable truth of that realization. I did not stop caring, but I stopped showing it. I allowed routine, stress, distractions, and my own complacency to take priority over presence. I thought love would sustain itself simply because it always had. I see now how unfair that assumption was. Love does not disappear loudly, it erodes softly when attention, listening, and effort are withheld. What hurts most is recognizing that neglect is not neutral. It is felt deeply by the one receiving it. Silence can wound just as much as harsh words. Absence, even when physical proximity remains, creates a distance that grows unnoticed until it feels overwhelming. I'm confronting the weight of knowing that my inaction contributed to that distance. I'm reaching out to you both because your conversations reflect honesty, wisdom, and lived experience. I'm not looking for a quick fix or empty reassurance. I'm asking how to begin again, how to rebuild trust, closeness, and emotional safety after neglect has taken its toll. How do you show someone they matter again when time has already taught them otherwise? If love can be rekindled, I want to do the work required, not just through words, but through consistency, humility, and change. I want to learn how to be present again, how to listen without defensiveness, and how to love in a way that is felt, not assumed. Thank you for creating a space where difficult truths can be spoken aloud. Even writing this letter is a step I should have taken sooner. I hope your guidance can help light a path forward, not just for me, but for anyone who realizes too late that love needs care every day. With sincerity and respect, Peter.
What a great rekindling love. Miss Karen! What a great, amazing letter. Thank you, Mr. Peter, for sending this letter. And for sure, our listeners will be empowered. So, Miss Karen, what is about all about the letter? Asking to rekindle love, right?
Absolutely.
And Mr. Peter, the first step for rekindling love after neglect is, I think, radically honesty with yourself. You must acknowledge not only what was lost, but how your actions or inaction contributed to the loss. Avoid the temptation to minimize the damage by calling it just a phase or a bad timing. Neglect accumulates quietly, and recognizing the weight is essential. Growth begins when accountability replaces defensiveness.
That's really good. You know, This is really a heartrending letter to me, Daniel, because number one, I'm very touched that Peter has humbled himself not only in asking for help, but also acknowledging just what you're describing, his part, that he has enabled his love for his spouse to dwindle away. That phrase, love disappears quietly, not loudly, is kind of scary. I know it can be scary to a lot of our listeners who maybe are in a similar position where their love has gotten cold. They've taken each other for granted to the point where there's no life and passion in their relationship anymore. And this is a serious place to be. And can it be resurrected? Well, that's to be seen. And to be honest, it does take a lot of work on Peter's part and the willingness on his spouse's part to participate in the rebuilding of this shattered relationship.
Apologies matter, Mr. Peter, but only when they are specific and grounded in understanding. A vogue, I'm sorry for everything, often feels hollow to the person who endured the neglect. Name what you failed to do, how it affected them, and why is it was wrong. This level of clarity signals emotional maturity and respect. Through apologies open door that excuses permanently close.
Um, being able to humble yourself to admit that you've been wrong. And as Daniel said, you need to be specific. Is it because you chose your career over your family? Did you spend too much time at the office? Did you break promises and weren't there for your wife or for your children and promised events? That you weren't there for holidays, for celebrations, for even just the mundane things like your children's ball games or performances. These are things that we build our relationships upon. And if these are things that have been neglected, then these are things that not only do you repent of it, but you take action. You do something to show that you're honestly willing to build your relationships back.
Hmm. And Mr. Peter, consistency is more powerful than intensity when rebuilding love. Grand gesture may impress briefly, but they do not repair long-term emotional erosion. What heals is, let's say, you're ready to showing up when you say you will, or listening without distraction, and following through. Trust is rebuilt in small, repeated moments. Love grows where predictability meets care. Show your care, Mr. Peter. Don't hide.
You
Because
know,
most men, right, Miss Karen, most men hide their feelings. They are afraid or the shame.
That's really unfortunate because it's so important
True.
to be, more transparent, but maybe you didn't make the mistake, Peter, of spending too much time at the office. Maybe, as Daniel's describing, maybe it's because you're inattentive when you're there, that maybe the ball game's more important, or the newspaper, or, your social media, or your phone calls, or all these interruptions, that even though you're physically there, you're not mentally and emotionally there for your spouse or for your family. Those also can be real, true hindrances to rebuilding the closeness and intimacy that family deserves.
Yes, they deserve those feelings that you should showed before. Like listening must before explaining too. When someone feels neglected, they often carry unspoken grief, resentment, and confusion. Your role is not to justify your past behavior, but to understand their experience fully. And interrupting, correcting, or reframing their feelings only deepens the divide. Healing begins when they feel truly heard.
That's good. It also may require, and this is something you could consider, Peter, is getting professional help, couples therapy. There are a lot of families that have been restored because they were willing to have a impartial third professional give them advice, and that they maybe, and sometimes men will be more willing to do the steps that a professional recommends than one suggested just by their spouse.
Yes. L- le- what do you call this? Relearning presence is essential in disrupted world. Being physical nearby is not the same as being emotionally available. Put away devices, silence interruptions, and give unavoided attention, even in ordinary moments. Presence communicates value more clearly than words ever could. Love flourishes when attentional is intentional.
That's good. The other thing is, and this is where Daniel and I are coming from, pray.
Hmm.
Because there is a way that can touch your spouse's heart that God knows, and can give you wisdom and insight and favor towards them in order to win back the warmth and the love and the attention and the affection that needs to be in your relationship, that you want to have and you want to be able to show. And so as you humble yourself before your spouse, humble yourself before the Lord and say, I need your help. I want to know how to love her more than I ever did before. I want to know what steps to take every day that will convince her. Maybe she needs flowers for no reasons, or but it may not be big gestures. It may be these little things that Daniel's talking about. Willing to put your device down, willing to turn your channel off, willing to really listen and care about what they're thinking and feeling.
Mm. Patience is non negotiable in the repair process. The person who has neglected or may not trust your change immediately, and that hesitation is reasonable. Expect setbacks, skepticism, and moments of withdrawal. These are not the signs of failure, but signs of healing in progress. Rushing reconciliation often recreates the original harm. So, Mr. Peter, trust the process.
I like that, Daniel, being patient. They might not respond immediately. They may not believe you immediately. So it might be worth every day, because it didn't happen as you described in your letter. It didn't happen overnight. This is not some big calamity that happened. This was something that slowly dripped away. And so it's not going to be a quick fix that's going to repair it. It's going to take diligence and perseverance and being willing to allow that person to get the healing they need, to really trust you again, that you aren't going to leave again, because you may not have left physically, but you left emotionally. And maybe they did too, and they have to learn how to love you too again. So, honest dialogue. Really listening to each other, sharing what is it that you really want from each other in your marriage. These are really important questions you can ask, and maybe journal. Find a way to communicate that is uniquely new for you, that will be almost like a new time together as you restore and rebuild. And you may want to even think about, remarriage, doing a going forth and having a redoing of your vows, and maybe a honeymoon, just some things, some drastic things that can help really thrust you onto a new path together, with love being to the forefront this time.
Actions must align with promises, especially over time, Mr. Peter. If you commit to change, that commitment must survive inconvenience, stress, and boredom. Sustainable love is proven when effort continues after the urgency fades. Reliability transforms hope into belief. Without a follow through, even sincere intentions collapse. But Mr. Peter learned to express appreciation openly and often. Neglect frequently leaves someone feeling invisible or taken for granted. Verbal affirmation, gratitude, and acknowledge restore emotional visibility. This expression should be specific, not generic. Feeling is in a cornerstone of emotional intimacy.
That's good. That's really good. And, you know, finding out what they want and what they
Mm-hmm.
desire from you. They didn't leave either, even when love was being dwindled away. They're still there. So there's a reason that they're still there too. So find out what is it that helped them persevere? What do they want? Find out. And remember that you're not perfect. Neither one of you is perfect. You're not even going to do this repair job perfectly, and it takes a lot of grace. Learn to pray together and say, I'm going to pray for you and pray for each other to have the grace to love each other with an unselfishness that is really a hallmark of a truly in love couple.
Yes. And Mr. Peter examined the patterns that led to neglect in the first place. Without addressing the root causes, work imbalance, avoidance, and emotional immaturity, the cycles will repeat. Self awareness prevents relapse. Change must be structural, not situational. Sustainable love requires personal growth, not temporary effort, Mr. Peter. Allow yourself to feel discomfort without retreating. Repairing love often bring shame, grief, and regret to the surface. These emotions are not enemies, they are teachers. Sitting with discomfort builds emotional resilience. Growth happens when you stay present through unease.
Mm, that's good. Presence through unease. You
Yes.
know, here's something else I highly recommend, and you've heard us, if you've listened to our program, talk about this, but having a sense of humor. Once you've repented and cried together and loved together, and you realize that this is a process that we're going to rebuild together, learn to laugh together, learn
Mm-hmm.
to enjoy each other again, and find out, hey, oops, I did it again. Yipes. Bring these things to attention and keep it light as you possibly can, where you're not throwing each other into judgment and criticism and shame, because that isn't the way to build. Shame never lifts up. Shame only destroys. So we're not trying to shame each other. We're trying to build each other up. And that way, together, you will be healthier and happier.
Yes, healthier and happier, Mr. Peter. Seek guidance when necessary, not as last resort. Wisdom from other mentors, counselors, or either coach. Please do listen to our new podcast with Miss Karen, Coaching 101.
Yes.
Mr. Peter, please do listen because who knows, we will be coaching you what to do about love. Right, Miss Karen?
Yes, yes. And, you know, you mentioned earlier, Daniel, that men have a hard time talking about their feelings, and, you
Yes.
know, it's something that, you know, with men, when you become good friends with a man, do you talk about your issues or you just talk about the ball game or work?
Hmm, hmm,
It's something that isn't typical for men to talk about when they're struggling, but it's great to have someone in your life that you can trust to say, yeah, either be specific or just say, "Pray for me and my wife. We're going through something right now. Help," you
hmm,
know, and you don't know what doors may open when you find out that other people are struggling too.
hmm. Men sometimes have this big ego, bigger than them. I'm better than this, I'm better than that. They are better than anyone. So Please lower your ego, people. Asking for help demonstrates commitment, not weakness. Perspective accelerate healing. Love benefits for humility. See, lower yourself, people. Humility. Finally, understanding and rekindling love is not about restoring the past, but building something wiser. The relationship that emerges may look different, and that is not a failure. It can be a deeper, more intentional, and more honest than before.
That's good. That's good. More honest than before. And aren't we really wanting that? Aren't we wanting relationships where we can be ourselves? We can lower our masks and have the expectation be this is who I really am. Can you love me who I really am? Can I love you who you really are? And you find out yes, we can truly love each other as we are, imperfect but real. Be real in your struggles with each
Authenticity.
other.
Authenticity, people. Be real to yourself, be real to your wife, and, well, thou shall not commit adultery. Oh, one of the uh, 10 Commandments of God. Please tune in. Bible verses 101 coming next. So,
Yeah.
Miss Karen, would you be plug in something? Plug in our podcast, please.
Yes, we have just started a brand new and coaching 101. As a longtime coach and art teacher, this is a subject that I absolutely love to talk about because I think we all need coaching from time to time in different subjects.
Yes.
And Daniel is promoting himself as a coach to those who want to be podcasters. And he
Yes.
is an expert who definitely can help you if you're looking for that kind of guidance. Also, come and join us for Bible Verses 101. We are sharing favorite verses that encourage us to live a life of spiritual joy and success and much more abundance and fullness than we have ever known. So join
Mm,
us, Bible Verses
yes.
101.
Yes, people, please do listen to our podcast with Miss Karen because we are assuring you our podcast will be bigger, better, and bolder each episode that we are doing. So, Miss Karen, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. And God bless you, and God bless you, listeners. Have a great one. See you next time.
Emoticon people, see you soon.